they would bring in. We'll have to take a look. See who's going to replace Mr. Jefferson. And that's a tough loss. It really, really is. LSU's had some tough injuries this year. They really, really have. But to give you my prediction, I think LSU wins this game 45-10 behind a big rushing performance by Geis and Darrell Williams. I think Danny Etling is going to be able to exploit down the field to Traven Durrell, Malachi Dupree. I think you're going to see some deep balls early on. I think LSU's going to pound. I think LSU's going to pound old Southern Miss. I'm calling for about a 45-10, 45-17 game. I think LSU just wants to come out here and unload on this team. And I think they will. Now, I'm breaking down some other games for you. Alabama, Tennessee, the big one from Knoxville, 2:30 p.m. on CBS. So when I'm breaking down this game, first thing I'm saying to myself is, man, who's left for Tennessee as far as on an injury situation? I mean, even at full strength, it would be hard enough for Tennessee to hang around to beat Alabama. Jalen Hurts trying to get back from a concussion issue. The linebacking core has just been decimated with injuries. The offensive front took a hit in the loss of A&M. They're just losing players left and right. One thing Tennessee cannot do, or it could get ugly, is they cannot come off to the start they had with Florida and Texas A&M. They can forget about making massive comebacks against Alabama. One, the crowd won't be in the game, and that's a big part to this one, for the crowd to get into Jalen Hurts' head. Now, Tennessee will be able to take some shots down the field. Alabama's secondary has been awful on the road this year and has been able to give up some big plays. All you got to do is look at the Arkansas and Ole Miss games. They've been susceptible to the big play, and Josh Dobbs is good at doing that. That's one of the things that Josh Dobbs excels in. So we're going to see. We're going to see what happens, as far as when Tennessee has the ball. I think they're going to try to do it. Typically, though, in these big games, like a top 10 type matchup, Alabama's defense, for some reason, has a way of getting up when it has to. Staying in control. It's been a very offensive. What's crazy about this year has been very offensive. And even though Alabama's allowing 415 yards a game. Alabama, from Ryan Anderson to Tim Williams to Jonathan Allen up front, to now their pickoff artist, Minkah Fitzpatrick. This D is getting into the backfield as well as anybody in the country. So how would Tennessee be able to win this game? In fact, they're coming in at home. They're coming in with a different attitude this year. You know, Tennessee's been in some crazy games. Florida, Georgia, this A&M game, which was crazy at the end. And they still almost pulled that A&M game out. Even though everything going against them, they still found it to seriously be able to come back and beat A&M, but they fell short in overtime. But it's up right now. Josh Dobbs will have to have the game of his life. Not trying to lead another comeback. This is one of those, has to have a game of his life from the start to the finish. And look, Alabama's given up 821 passing yards to Chad Kelly and Austin Allen. Ole Miss, Chad Kelly, Arkansas, Austin Allen. That's 821 yards of those two guys. They are susceptible to that big play. Dobbs has been inconsistent. He has turned the ball over once in every game. But he brings it. He threw for over 300 against Florida. He almost threw for 400 against A&M. He can put up this yardage. But he's got to be the best player on that field Saturday. If not, Tennessee loses. So what do I think is going to happen? Well, Alabama's going to do what they do. I think Tennessee's going to be able to be in the game through the first 2.5 quarters. I think the offense is going to have to crank it up, and they will. They're going to have balance and do their typical Saban take care of business. Tennessee's going to put up a real good fight. But I think depth in the end is what's going to do them in. And my final score prediction, I'm looking for like a 41-31 Bama victory. It's going to be close. I think Tennessee actually sneaks inside the number, which sits at 13 right now. So I'm looking for a 41-31, 34-31 type game. It's going to be close, but I think Alabama flexes their muscle in the end and gets this thing done. That's what you can look. That's what you can look for. Now, in the other big game, I wanted to preview is Ohio State, Wisconsin. You know, this game is a big-time top 10 matchup between two good programs. Well-coached, well-schooled. Both teams are doing extremely well. And they match up. You know, Wisconsin played Michigan tough. Beating them 21-7. Or, excuse me, Michigan winning 21-7. It was a 14-7 game late. This Wisconsin team's a good football team. And they get Ohio State in Madison on a Saturday night. So you look at this game, and when I'm looking at this, you know, you have this Ohio State team that hasn't had any kind of a close game yet this year. They've dominated anybody, including going on the road at Oklahoma, winning that game 45-24. if I'm an Ohio State guy and I'm looking at this, I'm saying, okay, well, look, it's not like Wisconsin's going to finally find themselves on offense and put together some mastermind game plan. I mean, their defense is tough. Yes, it is. And just a little update, guys, in-game update. San Diego has just scored. It is currently, they're attempting the extra point. Looks like it's getting ready to be 7-0 San Diego. San Diego got the ball and shoved it down Denver's throat. Phillip Rivers accounting for 85 yards passing on that drive. Mm. 12 plays, 90 yards. But as I said, I thought San Diego would come out on fire, and I thought they would grab a 17-13 lead, and I thought Denver would take it in the end. So we're going to see how that shapes up. Getting back, I think that, Wisconsin, when I look at it, their running game is solid, but it's not anything to be excited about. They only came up with 122 yards against Michigan State. They were stuffed by Michigan with just 71 yards. The kicking game's been a problem. There really isn't any semblance of any kind of passing attack. The Buckeyes are going to have to get up early and put this Wisconsin team away early on. They can't let them hang around because that's what these other teams have done that have lost to Wisconsin. LSU, Michigan State. They've turned the ball over and let them hang around. It's going to be about patience for Ohio State. They're going to have to wait, take their shots. Wisconsin's going to try to bore them to death, get them frustrated. As long as Ohio State doesn't panic in the second half, they'll win this football game. They should be fine. They're by far the more faster, more athletic. This Buckeye offense should be able to work as long as the ball comes out of JT's hands in a hurry. That's what Wisconsin's going to try to blitz and get pressure. But that's what Ohio State's offense has pretty much done all year, is avoid sacks, avoid pressure, get the ball out quick. Now, if I'm on the Wisconsin side, why would they win this game? Well, yeah, JT Barrett can spread the ball around. But this Badger defense is also masterful at keeping these yards after contact to a minimum. One thing that I'd be concerned about is Michigan was able to get a couple of bombs down deep. And JT Barrett, as we know, can throw the deep ball with accuracy. If the Buckeyes try to run or try to up the tempo a little bit with these quick-hitting short plays, there could be problems against this linebacking core.